Hello, I am back, and I am here to talk about if you did start school for the fall as an interest student, or if you are someone that's planning on starting Cosmos school in the future. That's also would be okay. So my last video was about interest students, and this time I'll be addressing and going back to the most important thing. If you have already started school, I want you to focus on your attendance sheet. Make sure, I would recommend that you have your own logbook that you could use to log your time in, because you'd be surprised sometime you're there, and because it's okay, you're human, you might forget to sign in. And from what I've experienced with students in the past, and even now present, they would sign in and when they come in, and then they'll go for lunch, and then they'll forget to sign out and in back for lunch, and then they'll forget to sign when they're leaving. So it's like, excuse me, you weren't there. So it's very important to keep track of your signing in and out, whether you're going for lunch, just coming in, going for lunch, signing back in, signing out, and leaving for the day. You have to keep track of your signing, because the reason for that, each time you attend school, those hours are the hours that's gonna go towards the hours you would need for the Cosmo program. So every day you attend class, it's very important that you remember, because those are the hours you will need to accumulate for your cosmetology course. So it's very important that you keep track of that. Another thing is I want to talk about your syllabus. My last video I was talking about the syllabus, but I want to get a little bit deeper into it. Your syllabus is gonna be what you need. This is what you're gonna need to keep track of your the work you will need to do online, and also it's also gonna be a schedule to tell you when are you gonna start your hands-on. So you need to keep track of your syllabus, because when you just started out as a Cosmo student, you're gonna have a lot of online quizzes that you need to keep track of, because your quizzes is gonna base on what you read in your book. And as I said before, my last video, you'll be using this for your chapters, and you're gonna be also using it for your hands-on. And when you started, you'll need, I'm not sure, as I mentioned before in my last video, you'll need your foundation. I'm not sure if every school uses the foundation book, but this is the one I am using right now with students. So each time you read and you go over a chapter, that will be in your quiz. So your foundation is gonna be telling you about your everyday life skills and what you would need for to start school and everything, and what, as a professional hairstylist, what industry will need, and how you would perform as a hairstylist. And not only in the Cosmo industry, but in general, going out there in the field and just dealing with life on a whole. So this video is basically about how to get ahead of the game when it comes to be on top of your game with your quizzes, because a lot of times students, when they just started out, they're behind in the first 2 or 3 weeks, because it's kind of hard, especially if they didn't start out with their book. Most students did not everybody get their book at the same time based on their situation. So if you're behind, that is where the problem starts. So the most important thing is to make sure that when you do have your book, if you get your book on time, it's fine. If you don't, make sure that whenever you get the time, if you're a student that work, it's kind of hard, but you have to get it done. You have to make sure that every little free time you have, you go online. Most of the quizzes is online. You go online and you do as much chapter and quizzes. Even though you might start off with chapter, for instance, 1 or 2 or 5, 6, 7. Every school is different, and you're not going to get your chapters based on chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be based on what you're actually going to be doing in class for that semester. So you might be starting with draping. Draping is one of the chapters that usually we would start with. The first thing, as far as your hands-on, would be draping and knowing how to do shampooing and all of that with the client professionally. Knowing how to drape them, what they need to put on as far as to when they go to the shampoo bowl, and stuff like that. And that is one of the first hands-on method you'd be doing, learning how to do all of that. So you, as time go by and you say you do a chapter on draping, then you'll be getting ready to do a quiz in regards of whatever you just learn. So you would not get, like, from where I teach, you will not get like one chapter. You would probably accumulate like 3 or 4 chapters, I would say, and then that's when we would go ahead and give a test or a quiz. And some schools might do like a multiple choice on paper, while for me, it's mostly online right now. You'll go on and you'll use your book. Another thing, if you purchase your book from your school, you should have a code in your book. And the code, this is my book as an instructor, so this one doesn't have a code. But your book will have a code, and that code will actually be your outlet. That you have to use your code to log online. The code, once you have a code in your book, it's gonna tell us that you actually purchased your book from the institute, and wherever you go to school. Everywhere might be different. Some schools might allow you to buy your books online without using the code, and they might allow you to just where, if you have a book that you get from someone that used to go to school and they pass it down, they might allow you to use it. But for me, the book that I use at the institute I teach, everyone they're supposed to purchase their book, and then they'll go ahead and use that code in the book to sign in online to do their quizzes. So that's how I keep track, and we all keep track of the students' work that they do online. Now you have to make sure you don't have to do 1 or 2 chapters. You can just keep going on and you don't have to wait until you actually go over the chapters with your instructor. You can try and be ahead of the game, and on your free time, and whenever it's your studying time, the time that you chose, you could read your chapter and do your quiz. And say you're doing a chapter like chapter 4 or 5, I'm just using it as an example, and your instructor is getting ready to let you guys know, okay, it's time. You guys have to go ahead and do chapter 5 quiz. If you have your book at hand before your instructor starts that chapter 5, you don't have to wait. You can get familiar. You can start reading your book as soon as you have your books, and you can go online and start reading your book and practice your chapter as long as you have access to your online. That will let you be ahead of the game, because if you wait and, for instance, you didn't have your book on time, I'm sure there's going to be a couple chapters that you did not do because you didn't have your book. And you're going to be responsible as a student to get caught up with your chapters, because even though the books might not be in for you to purchase at the bookstore from the school that you go to, you are still responsible to make sure that you do all your quizzes and caught up on time. That will not be the school's fault. So if you receive your book like 2 weeks after school starts, and you already went through like a 2 or 3 chapters, and you didn't get to go online, it is your responsibility to take notes. I would advise you guys to take notes. Always have a notebook or your tablet, your lap, whatever you use. Take notes from your instructor. And it's also good to have like a chat, like a group chat with students. Get familiar with your classmates, with other students, so you can have some kind of interaction and stuff, especially if you don't have your book. So you can find out, have a group chat. That's what I do in my class. The students would do like a group chat, and then whoever doesn't have their book, they'll just go ahead and they'll just take pictures of that chapter, and then they'll just send it around for that person to have, to get some form of information, so that they're not behind, which is very good. But you have to have some form of communication. So in order to be ahead of the game with your quiz and your chapter, so you don't fall off, make sure every chance you get, you read and you go online and you do your quizzes. Keep doing them. Keep going back and doing them. Just don't do them one. Just try and be ahead of the game where you read your chapters. And don't try to do like you're on 2 chapters and you're on the same 2. If you have time, go ahead and move on. Look on your syllabus and find out what is your next chapters coming up, and read. Keep reading, keep moving along so you can be ahead of the game. And that's the only way you're going to be ahead of the game. Take notes. And the most important thing when you just started, or if you're planning on starting school, as I said before, is when you do started, keep track of your attendance. That is a big deal, because in the long run, those are the hours you're gonna have to go by to get all your hours in, all your requirements. So it's very important from the get-go, from the jump start, to keep track of every single hours, every attendance by yourself. Don't depend on the instructors. I keep track. I always keep a book that I keep track of my attendance. I keep track of everything, anything the students does, whether it's hands-on or anything. I'll write that student name down, and I'll write whatever they have done for the day. That's how I keep track of my stuff. So I would encourage you to keep track. Have a notebook or your tablet that you actually keep track of your own attendance for yourself. Do not just come in, sign in, and then at the end of the day, that attendance sheet goes in the office, so you don't have any form of, you cannot go back unless you ask your instructor to actually search back for that paper. It's already turned in. So it's best, because you don't have any control of that. Once you sign in for the day, that paper is turned in. And every day the paper is turned in. I'm not sure if, as I always said, if all schools are the same, but keeping track of your attendance is a big deal, and being ahead of the game with your chapters and quizzes, because most of your chapters and your quizzes is gonna be making up most of your grades, along with your hands-on and your performance. And your instructor will determine whatever grade you have online. That will not be finalized. Your instructor will determine your potential as far as to doing your grades. You might get a 75 online with your quiz, and you might be doing hands-on when the time comes for hands-on. And say you're a student that's very good at your performance and you score pretty high and you're very good at what you do with your hands-on, the instructor will determine your grade as far as to the grade that you get online with your quizzes. So I hope if there is any information you guys need to get, if there's something that I did not mention, please comment and let me know if there's something you are interested to know about. But this video is specifically for starting your intro class, or like actually within like a couple weeks of your class, or if you're thinking of starting school in the future. So the most important thing is communication with your instructor and your fellow classmates. And please remember to keep track of your hours, because your hours is what's going to build up all the time that you need to accumulate that is required for your Cosmo course. So from day one, you have to keep up with that. And to be ahead of the game, do not stop doing your quizzes. Just keep doing your quizzes. Try and be ahead of the game. And if you do not have your book, as soon as you get your book, just start doing them, because you will be behind by the time it's time to move along for another chapter. If it's time to move along for another chapter and you're still at chapter 1 and 2, and your instructor is at like 7 and 8, you are going to be behind. So every chance you get while you're home, if you're someone that work, and whenever you get the opportunity, please take the time to just keep doing your quizzes and knock them out of the way, because your quizzes is gonna be something that will let you be behind, and you need to keep moving forward. You always need to be ahead of the game when you're taking the cosmetology course. All right, so my next video will be about the stuff that you're actually going to be focusing on while you're in school as a Cosmo student. So if you like this video, like and share. And if there's a specific topic that you would like me to talk about, let me know. Put it in the comment section and I'll be happy to let you guys know. Journey with me, and let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.